Joining us on the phone this afternoon. Jerry, good afternoon. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, buddy. You?
Good stuff. Yeah, no, tell us, you've been out and about watching football this afternoon.
Yeah, mate, usual Saturday afternoon. I can't stay in for sure, so I went back to Cheltenham Town today, one of my former clubs. Obviously spent a good 5 years at Cheltenham, played 210 games there. So I'm always made very welcome back there, so I went and watched them against Port Vale. They're flying high in the league, Cheltenham, and got a 3-2 win. It was a little bit hairy scary near the end, but important 3 points for him. Michael Duff's doing a great job there. Nice to see Grant Horton on the bench, obviously a player we've had on loan this season. He was on the bench today there at Cheltenham, and Dan Bowery, who we had last season on loan, he's now just gone out to Wiltshire on loan. I believe he got sent off today, actually, for Wiltshire in the 90th minute. So, it was great to see some football. Good stuff.
And I guess, you know, in many ways we talked about this before, but this is going to be the way for you over the next few weeks and months.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, there's always a purpose to it. I'm going to watch Cheltenham, but I'm obviously looking at different things, players, systems, the way teams play. Always learning and upskilling myself. Tuesday I went up to Solihull Moors to watch Dagenham Redbridge, obviously our own Tom Smith on loan there. He played an hour very well and in a good 1-0 win for Dagenham. The staff took a fitness session or some testing sessions for the players. And then we trained again Thursday night, and then Tuesday I'll be down at Sutton watching Donovan. He's on TV tonight, actually, BT Sport live at 5:30.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's on the bench for Sutton, who are playing Wrexham tonight as well.
Excellent. And tell us a bit more about those two loan moves, because obviously we those were mentioned in the week, and we saw the announcements about them. You spoke about this before and about the opportunity to maybe get your players out on loan elsewhere. I guess this is just an extension of that. And tell us a bit about how they came about and what you're hoping from these loan moves.
Yeah, first and foremost, it's always about the players and trying to help them and improve them and help their development. So at the moment, both of them are just loan moves. Tom Smith one came about first from John Steele, a guy I know and is well known in football actually. He was doing some advisory role down at Dagenham, so always liked Tom whenever we played against his teams. Maidstone, he's always liked Tom. So the chance come about, I had a chat with Tom, see if he wanted to go and play football. And it worked for all parties. So yeah, he's gone down there. And Donovan likewise. I just had a call off the Sutton United manager. There's a few players down at Sutton that Donovan knows well from his days at Wolves. And again, we've done a deal just to the end of the season. While these lads aren't playing football, I don't see any other thing than it helping them and improving them. Obviously, there's a chance at the end of it, of course, if these clubs at higher level want the boys, they're going to have to come and get them and then pay for them. So they're under contract. Tom's out of contract, but under 24. So compensation will be due. And Donovan has a contract for next year. But as I said, both players are going there just primarily to keep themselves match fit and play at a really good level.
I guess that would be one of the questions for Bath City supporters. Indeed, we had a question in from Les Bingham this afternoon. So two pronged really. One, are there any other players likely to go out on loan? And two, and I know you've just semi-answered it there, in terms of, you know, there is a chance, of course, that, you know, if they do well, they could get picked up by clubs at a high level.
Yeah, of course, and I'm not going to hide away from that. And Les has been a very good supporter of us. He's very active on social media with us as well, so he's a good supporter. He understands it, he gets it. We're very active in recruiting players that we feel I want to sit down with them and they want to improve and they want to push on in their careers, and that's the type of players we want. So I've spoken about it before. We've taken in Robbie Cundy and sold him to Bristol City. We've done it with Miles Welsh-Hayes, not always young players. We've done it with Anthony Straker, Nick McCooty. These have all gone on for money, which has come back into the football club. And Donovan and Tom at the moment have got an opportunity just primarily just to go on loan. Now, if they get an opportunity to play at a higher level, then I'll have a conversation with what other clubs are interested. It's not necessarily the ones they're on loan with, it might be other ones. But at the moment, they're both Bath City players. The hardest thing is to keep finding those types of players, Owen. It's not as easy as people may think out there. So we're trying to, or I'd like to keep a team together for a course of a couple of seasons. But in reality, at non-league, it's really difficult to do that, because if you're doing well, then players will move on, and we've done ever so well over the last few seasons. And we really enjoy seeing the players go on. I love seeing Robbie Cundy playing at Gillingham at the moment on loan from Bristol City in League One, and it's great to track his development. I enjoy seeing Sam Pearson coming on from Bristol City today. and likewise the players, like I've mentioned. So at this moment, we're just seeing it as loan moves. That's all.
And I think I'm right in saying Tommy Conway was also on the bench for Bristol City the other week as well. Was that last weekend? I think he was. He might have been unused, but it just goes to show the calibre of play you've had at the club. Let's talk a bit more about Bath City. We're obviously very early stages in many senses, looking towards next season. But how are your plans starting to come together?
Well, they're not really. I mean, all we're doing, other than obviously I've identified players that I want to look at for next season. Obviously, it's difficult because you can't contact those players as such at the moment because they're still contracted to other football clubs. We've got earmarked loan players again that we potentially may take. But other than that, it's a little bit of a sort of in between period. We're potentially just going to try and get some lads in on trials if we can. But the boys we have got in, the players that are contracted are still at the moment for this season. As I said, they're coming in. We're doing individual programs with them. They had a great night Tuesday night doing some testing, varied testing in the gym and then outside on the grass. And then Thursday they had an individual football session. So, that's all we're doing really, ticking over, conversations between staff, constant. I'm constantly watching games online and watching players, speaking to agents. But as I said to you the other week, I won't know my budget for a good few weeks, so it'll be difficult to see where we are in that regard.
I was going to say, is that kind of the next step? You need to obviously sit down with the board there and just work out, what position the club's in and what you can sort of take forward into the next season.
Yeah, I speak to Paul Williams, as you know, every day, probably 4 or 5 times a day. And no, it's not a conversation we'll be having in the sort of imminent future. I just see that probably a month or maybe 2 months down the line, because we don't know still at this stage if we're going to have fans back in the grounds. That's what will earmark my budget. Now we'll have a good guess at it, and I think I'll have a good guess at our budget, and we can do that. So it's important I try and get a core in if I can. But I think we've got to be a little bit patient as well. We're working really closely together as a football club to try and build a squad for next season, but it's going to take time, and we've got time. That's the good news, Owen. It's not like we're rushing like we were after the playoffs. We have got time, and it's important that we use our time wisely, do our due diligence with all the players, find out about them, its characters, find out whether they want to come and play at our level or they really want to come and play at our level. And like you say, who knows? We might get some other players going out on loan in this time in between. There's been no inquiries about other players at this stage, but there may be. And then I'm going to get around and just keep watching as many games as I possibly can, and obviously watch Donovan and Tom as much as I can.
You mentioned the National League there. That sort of stuff still been rumbling on in the background. Another question Les wanted to pose to you is we saw this week there's sort of ongoing attempts to set up some sort of mini league between North and South, and he wanted to know what you think. I mean, it does seem a bit of a nonsense in some ways, but I don't know what you think about that.
I'm in agreement. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Owen, on that one. It's not something I endorse back. I don't, and it's not me talking because we're not playing. It's me talking because I think you lose the integrity of the league when you've got clubs almost dictating to a league structure. Your member clubs dictating to a power, saying, "Look, let's come up with this idea and see if we can go with it." And then your National League are then saying, "Well, okay, let's go and support this and put it to the FA." I hope and I pray that the FA just stick with what we've done. There was a voting system put in place for a reason, and the votes were very much strongly in favour of the league season being null and void. So what was the point of having that in the first place if suddenly we're going to come up with these ideas of mini leagues to try and gain promotion for clubs that have pushed a lot of money into it and want to get promoted? We've got, and I say it week on week out to you and other people, we've got 81 points to play for and only played 13 games. It'd be shambolic if a team then goes up. We could have had an opportunity going up. I don't envisage it. You still see teams now playing. I think Gloucester are playing Oxford today. I believe Dorking are playing Eastbourne today. There's lots of money being used up in that regard, and they're having to pay players' wages and travel already costing that as well. So they're obviously thinking something may happen, but it's not something that I would support as a manager at all. I just think that would be nonsensical. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I think there's probably a lot of people that would agree with that one, Jerry. Jerry, thank you as always. We'll let you concentrate on on getting on the road and getting home, and we appreciate your time as always, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, great to catch up. Cheers, Owen. Take care, mate.
Thank you.